This is my dad stepping up to take the most important penalty at the Emirates Stadium. But how did we get here? Well, you see, for the last 50 years, my dad has supported Arsenal, and he was the one that took me to my first ever football match. And now, 20 years later, it was time for me to repay him for everything he's done for us. And I knew the perfect way. Last year, I got to play at the Emirates with my twin brother. My dad dropped everything he was doing to come and watch us, and we both scored a goal. It was one of my proudest moments. He was so happy. But just before we were about to play on the pitch, my dad said this.
If I knew that I could have got you to play, I would have got you to play.
Yeah.
No, obviously yeah. Oh my goodness.
And from that moment, all I wanted to do was make it happen. So I created a 5-step plan to make my dad's dream come true. And it has to work. Step 1, secure the Emirates Stadium. Now I know what you're thinking. Securing an elite Premier League stadium like the Emirates, just by asking, would be extremely difficult. But for some reason, I felt really confident about our chances. I mean, I definitely looked like I meant business. So now, all I had to do was walk inside and ask Arsenal if I could have a kick around with my dad on the pitch for like 90 minutes. How could they possibly say no? Yeah, they said no. To rent the Emirates for a day would cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, which is way out of our budget. So I decided it was time for plan B. When I played at the Emirates, the people that made it possible were the guys at EFootball. So I reached out to them and told them about my idea to make my dad's dream of playing at the Emirates Stadium come true. And later that day, I got a reply back. EFootball said they loved the idea and they wanted to help me make it happen.
But I will have to wait 6 months until the end of the season to hear the final decision.
I waited a whole 6 months, and then it was time to find out if my dad will be playing at the Emirates or not.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. It's official. My dad will be playing at the Emirates.
And now it was time to move on to step 2, the fake backstory. To make sure it stays a complete surprise, it was important to come up with a believable backstory that would get my dad to go all the way to the Emirates Stadium without raising any suspicion.
And I have the perfect idea.
I got my dad to enter a competition set up by me where only the people who attended Arsenal's final game in their invincible season could enter. And of course, my dad was there. The prize for the winner is the ultimate photo shoot with Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. They'll get an exclusive tour, including pitch side. The crazy part is, my dad won't have a clue about any of this until 5 minutes before the match begins. I got my dad to fill out the fake competition form, and now the plan was officially in action. In the meantime, whilst we waited for the results of the fake competition, I wanted to make sure my dad was match ready, which leads us to step 3, match prep. I met my dad at the gym for what I thought would be a light workout session. But little did I know what I was actually in for. We were doing a bodyweight workout session and started off with some pull-ups. And very early on, I realized just how fit and strong my dad was. He was making it all look so easy. Me, on the other hand, I was struggling to keep up with him. But this was just the start. I couldn't believe what he did next. My dad, using just his pure strength, did the craziest upside-down exercise move I've ever seen. And now I was certain the match would be absolutely nothing to worry about. We finished off with a circuit drill that was even more intense, but I was having a great time exercising with my dad, even if I barely made it out in one piece. The next part of the match prep was to get my dad some new boots.
And we have one job and one job only: finding my dad the perfect boots. And we've got a lot of boots to pick from. So let's see what we pick out.
There were so many options to choose from. Some of the newer style boots.
They're too bright. Definitely not laceless either.
And also some of the more classic ones, which were definitely more of my dad's style. We searched the entire store until we narrowed it down to just 2 boots.
The decision has been made. Dad will be scoring in the white boots at the Emirates.
And now on match day, Dad would also be getting surprised with some brand new football boots. I then waited 2 weeks before giving my dad the results of the ultimate Arsenal fan competition.
Okay, so it's been 2 weeks now since my dad entered the competition. So,
I'm gonna text him right now and give him the good news. Okay, so my dad has just replied and he said, great news, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually gonna slide in a little clue for my dad, so hopefully he doesn't catch on. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to play on the pitch as well. So make sure you bring your boots. It was time for step 4 of the plan, the fake photo shoot. And everything was in place to make sure it all went perfectly. But on match day, we ran into a problem. I arrived at the stadium and met up with my brother and cousin, and that's when Ezzy told me that we had a slight issue. My dad had arrived 1 hour early and went through the players' car park inside towards the pitch. If my dad went inside the changing room, the surprise I'd spent over a year planning would be ruined. But luckily, the guys from EFootball managed to divert him back out the stadium, where I was waiting for him. And now, it was time for the real surprise to begin, starting with the fake photo shoot. And of course, we had our official Arsenal photographer Hector with us.
So I'm here outside the Emirates with my dad, and of course, he was the first one to ever take me to the Emirates. They have a few questions that they want me to ask you. So what was your happiest memory as an Arsenal fan?
And one thing about my dad, he always comes prepared for anything.
I would say Wednesday, April the 4th, 1987 at White Hart Lane.
That's very specific.
With a full moon, David Rocastle scored a late goal to win a semi-final at their place. And I'll never ever forget that. Ever.
That's amazing.
Next in the agenda was a photo shoot with one of the Invincible statues.
Second part of the photo shoot is with one of my dad's favourite players, the magician himself, Dennis Bergkamp.
That's a shocking statue.
You don't like the statue?
Oh, look at the face on it. I said Dennis Bergkamp. That is absolutely shocking. He looks mean.
Even though my dad wasn't the biggest fan of the architecture, he had no problem posing for the pictures. As we made our way inside for the final part of our photo shoot, my brother and cousin had just made it to the changing room. And even though I was surprising my dad today, this was also their first time inside the stadium. So as you can imagine, they were extremely excited too. The final part of our photo shoot was taking place inside the tunnel, as the pitch was off limits today due to a match, which my dad still didn't know he was playing in.
We're going to straight to the pitch, actually.
Okay.
You went on it once before, last year.
Yeah, watching you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on the hybrid pitch before.
Yeah. Have you played on the hybrid pitch?
No, never got a chance to do that. So that's something really special, watching my boys on the Arsenal. I remember looking in your face, oh my God.
Yeah, no, of course. It's a dream to play on the pitch.
imagine.
Thank you. It was special to have you there watching. That's like a proper full circle moment.
Yeah.
And in about a few moments, that circle would be complete. Meanwhile, whilst we were in the tunnel, my brothers were hiding behind the bench outside.
So Dad, we're actually going to head out to the pitch for the main bit of the photo shoot. Here we go. Let's do it. Look at this. Woo! Emirates. With my dad.
Little did he know though that in just a few moments' time,
But you want to kick the ball as well.
Yeah, no, so we just have to...
he would be doing a bit more than just kicking the ball. My brothers were literally meters away from us now, and my dad still had no idea. I still had to make sure he didn't turn around. So I just started waffling about photography angles just to throw him off any suspicion.
So, wait, Hector, how do you want us here? Emirates, how you feeling being on the pitch?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. It looks so much smaller.
It does, right?
And when you sit in the stands, it looks like a massive pitch.
It does.
It was already so special just standing on an empty Emirates pitch with my dad. And now, after a whole year of hard work to make this happen, it was finally time to surprise my dad.
The only thing that can make this better if I told you that you're playing here today. What if I told you, would you believe me though?
You.
But Dad, you are playing at the Emirates today.
Oh, for goodness sake.
You are playing at the Emirates today, Dad.
I would have had my porridge, I would have had my protein shake, I would have gone for a 5K run at 7 o'clock in the morning.
But what if I told you there's even one more surprise?
Oh, here we go.
Let's pose for the picture. And if anyone else wants to join us, you can join us.
Stop that! It's in it today.
Oh my! We're all playing at the Emirates today. None at all.
The surprise was perfect. My dad couldn't have been happier.
Oh my God.
All that was left now was to enjoy the experience together.
I've done a 5K run.
Dad, I told you not to do that.
You didn't tell me.
I told you to take it easy in the gym, Dad.
I don't do things easy. Someone did say something when I was in the change room. I think Chloe said something.
Yeah, he said, are you
looking
playing?
forward to play. I said, what?
Yeah.
I need to get to my car for my 4G boots.
No. I've got some new ones.
And then my dad entered the changing room for the first time.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you got your name there and all of that.
It meant the world to me to see my dad so happy. And the best was still yet to come.
Here are your new boots for the Emirates, Dad.
Did you ask for my boot size the other day?
Yeah, I did. He nearly caught me.
My dad put his kit on, laced up his brand new boots, and got mic'd up.
So have I got to make sure I don't sweat?
I didn't.
Good. He's going to need a lot of editing. He'll know. Now I'm here. Let's see what I look like, first of all.
Ready to score, yeah?
Yeah, looking good.
And after his quick maintenance check, my dad ran through the tunnel to play on the Emirates pitch.
When you told me about this last year, he said, "Oh, I'll try and get to play next year, Dad." I thought,
I told you that.
great. And I said to myself, I keep very fit.
Dad was right. I didn't give him any prep time, but I was about to make it up to him.
And Emirates, honorary captain. Honorary captain.
Yes.
And that's quite tight.
And now it was time to walk out at the Emirates Stadium alongside my dad. There's not much that could beat this feeling. Meanwhile, my dad was really embracing his role as captain today.
No such things are friendly, right? Oh, good luck. I ain't taking it easy. No such things as easy match.
Me and dad were starting together in midfield for the first time ever.
Yeah, I'll do the run then.
Hey, you cheeky sons.
And like all the Arsenal captains that came before him, my dad went up to do the coin toss.
I'm going to go heads.
And he won, meaning we would kick off the match at the Emirates. As a kid, I always wanted to play on the same team as my dad one day. So the fact that years later, I've been able to do it at the Emirates Stadium is nothing short of a blessing. Now, there was only one thing left to do: win the match. Now, one thing about my dad is that growing up, he was always a good footballer. So seeing him shifting the ball past players felt like rolling back the years. Another thing is, however, is that this was my dad's first time playing 11-a-side in over 20 years. So not everything went perfectly. In the very next possession, my dad took the ball down under pressure from 2 defenders. And then we showed our chemistry with some nice 1-2s in the midfield. But the opponents were now starting to look dangerous in attack, and we were losing control of the game. But my dad was doing a great job at getting things ticking again in our midfield. And as the game progressed, he got more and more stuck in, and even helped out defensively. But right before halftime, the opponent's striker saw our keeper off his line and excellently chipped in, giving the opponents the lead going into halftime.
First half is done, and my dad is playing very well. Like, he's making me proud out there. Me and him were doing a little combination here and there. You're doing well though, Dad.
I'm very like little touches, little boom boom.
How you finding it?
I'm loving it.
Yeah, even the little bites at the tackles, you can see it, innit?
I want to do more.
Before the game, my dad told me that his biggest dream today would be to score on the Emirates pitch.
But my main goal today is to get him a goal. He will score today. Mark my words.
So I was determined to do anything in my power to make it happen. But right before the second half, goalkeeper got injured, and as the team captain, my dad volunteered to go in goal to make sure everyone got the chance to play outfield. And that is definitely something I didn't expect to happen today. Even though there weren't many chances, my dad looked ready. Maybe a bit too ready. But then, suddenly, Dad was about to be called into action. The opponent's left-back Justice drove forward, and after a 1-2 with Urgis, he was completely through on goal. But my dad stood strong and made a big save to stop him from doubling the lead. And Justice couldn't believe it. And after a mostly uneventful 20 minutes, Dad made his return outfield. And when he came back into midfield, he was not messing about. My dad was flying into tackles left, right, and center. He was determined to get us back in the match by any means possible. We did have a couple of chances, but they came to nothing. We were now running out of time, but Dad kept trying to create chances for our team. But the opponents were doing just enough to hold on. But that was until my brother Ezzy broke the offside trap and played the ball across to me. With minutes left, this was the biggest chance to equalize, and it went straight at the keeper. But as the defenders tried to to clear the ball, it fell back to Ezzy, who finessed it into the top corner. After struggling to find the net all game, Ezzy had scored what turned out to be the last shot of the game. And that meant we were heading to penalties. But the only thing was, this wasn't a regular penalty shootout. It was sudden death, one penalty only. Both teams had assigned a taker before the match, and up first was the grey team. And he skied his penalty way over, which now meant if I scored, we would win. But the truth was, it wasn't going to be me taking the penalty. One of my dad's dreams was to score at Arsenal, and this was the perfect chance to do it.
Hey, Dad, you want to take mine? You take mine.
Okay.
Yeah, you take mine. You take mine.
It had all come down to this. If my dad scores here, we win the shootout.
Targets, Dad.
Don't worry,
Targets, Dad. Come on, Dad. Target. Finish!
After a brilliant penalty, my dad had done it. He had scored his goal at the Emirates and won us the match on penalties. And eFootball still had one more surprise for us. eFootball were also giving us a signed Arsenal jersey from the whole team.
This, honestly.
But my dad's tears didn't last long.
Have you got extra large?
You don't wear it, mate.
Hey? I'll hang it up.
Dad, how'd you find it?
Absolutely outstanding. Worth the hamstring strain.
Yeah. We're all grateful for how much you did for us, especially with football. So this is the only way, generally, that I can repay you for all them times you drove us everywhere, all up and down the country. I think give a clap to that. You deserve it, Dad. You deserve it.
Wow.
Since I started making content, I've done a lot of special things. But playing football at the Emirates with my dad, my two brothers, my cousin, and some of my best friends is truly something I'll never forget. I want to say a huge thank you to eFootball for making this possible.